single time I'm traveling. I just feel like I need to document it. And if I don't, then like, what are you doing? TikTok especially has the strictest algorithm. Like consistency is key. I don't want to have to feel like I have to live that way. I should have privacy. I should have things that I should keep to myself.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Justaposition, the podcast where we explore mental health, vulnerability, and personal life journeys with creators you know and love. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, and stream the podcast episodes wherever you listen to your podcast. Today is an in-person interview, and I'm so excited to have you here. If you guys do not know who is sitting across from me, you obviously have not spent longer than 30 seconds on TikTok, because she is the queen of comedy TikTok and the person who single-handedly popularized the sped up effect on TikTok as well. Please, everyone, welcome Jess. Thank you so much for coming.
Everyone. I'm so happy to be here. This is so exciting.
It's so cool to see you like here in Hawaii. Like I don't get to have like in-person guests often, and to have you like here sitting across from me, and like this is the first time we've met in person.
I know.
It's so freaking cool. Thank you so much.
You have no idea how much this means to me, because like literally March of 2020, I'm sitting in my childhood bedroom about to graduate from college into a world of nothingness, and I would literally have your videos on repeat. You're literally like the third or fourth person on my follow list.
Really?
Like yes.
Oh
yes.
my gosh.
I would watch your videos religiously. Like it would be my daily routine is watching your videos.
Way.
So this is unbelievable for me. So I don't think you understand.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea. That's so cool. Because I remember
Absolutely.
like when you first started blowing up, and I honestly don't remember when it was, but I remember like you have and if you guys have watched your videos, you know what I'm talking about, like the sped up effect with the comedic sketches that you do. And I'm like, oh my God, this girl is hilarious. I can tell she's a fellow theater kid right away.
Absolutely.
And I was just like cracking up at your content, and I saw that it was like it shows like follows you when someone, follows you. And I was like, oh my God, she seems so cool. And like literally, I can't tell you how many of your videos I have just like busted over laughing. And the thing that just amazes me about your content is like you just keep it coming. Like you are always, all of your content is so funny, it's so original, and I'm constantly just scratching my head of like, how do you even like think of these ideas consistently? Like your brain is amazing. It's the amount of hilarious content.
That's really sweet. Thank you. It is really challenging, because like you spend lots of time on TikTok. You try to see what the cool hip thing is that everyone's like digging these days. So like really doing a lot of research, spending a lot of time like trying to think of things that are like relatable, something that can be able to hit every person in the feels and the heart, so it takes a lot, of like personal experience also. Like I go home and I'm with my family, because I do make a lot of like family content, teacher content, mom, siblings, all that stuff. So getting a lot of like inspiration from them and experiences from them, that has definitely helped me. My dad sometimes makes videos with me, and he is super duper funny, and he helps me a lot think of ideas as well.
That's so awesome. I love that you have that like family dynamic.
Yeah.
Because like that, I feel like that would be like super helpful, and also just to be in that environment where everyone's just like playing around and making jokes and having fun.
Right.
Like I feel like definitely would like play a part into your content. But like I'd love for you to like introduce. I'm sure all of you guys who are listening and watching know who Jess is, but like feel free to like introduce yourself and like what your background story is, and like what got you started into TikTok.
Yeah. So I'm Jess. My username is Jess Val Ortiz on Instagram and TikTok.
Go follow.
Back in March of 2020, kind of like we both started at the same time. We blew up at different times, though. I blew up about a year after you did. But I downloaded TikTok right whenever I was graduating from college. I got my BFA in musical theater from Penn State, and it was a really scary time, because like I was going to move to New York City. I was going to, try to get an agent, go to auditions, but Broadway was closed for 2 years.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't be able to do that. And so my only creative outlet was TikTok. And so I made content for about, 8 months. And then once it hit November of 2020, that's when I hit 1 million followers, which was really cool. It was a very cool, milestone, I suppose. And then, but I wasn't making content that I loved or was passionate about or found enjoyable. So it was like really hard for about the next 6 months. I kind of plateaued. Wasn't getting very good, engagement. Like I didn't really find myself like going anywhere. And I knew that this was like a new passion of mine. I really wanted to content create. I really wanted to make, videos and make people laugh. And so I was like, I need to, think of something else. I need to try something else. And so the fast speed thing ended up being a hit. Yes. And so I took that, I ran with it. I had so much fun doing it. And I even was able to collaborate with a couple other people. Like I flew to LA and like so other people wanted to like do the fast speed thing with me. So I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so exciting and great. So I ended up doing that for a while. And now I'm kind of starting to transition a little bit because I loved doing that. And I still, here and there will do those kinds of videos just because I know that that's like, where I feel like my roots are and like definitely what the people really like to see from me. But like I have and we can definitely get into this. Yeah, I'd love to. Because you're kind of in this world, but like I love like makeup and beauty. Like that is something that I've always loved, but I was never good at. So I was like, I don't feel like there's really a place for me in this world because I'm not like an expert at it. I'm not an expert at makeup or skincare or beauty, hair, like all that stuff. So I guess I never really tried it. But now I'm starting to try it out. I post a couple of videos. Just the other day, I got over 100,000 likes. So I was like, okay, there you go. Maybe there is like a place for me in this world. Like that is definitely something I would love to try. Yeah. And I'm definitely with the right crowd right now.
Well, definitely. You should totally pursue it. And especially like nowadays, like I feel like the YouTube beauty community kind of made the world of cosmetics a little bit inaccessible because the production value became such a huge thing. And it was like, if you wanted to become a, beauty influencer, quote unquote, you had to like have perfect makeup and studio lighting and a team to help you and like all this stuff. But like now with TikTok and especially like the audience you have is just like screw that. Like it's all about like, meeting people where they are, what they understand. And let me tell you guys, like your beat is flawless. I don't know what you're talking about if you say you don't know makeup, and your skin is like gorgeous too. So like even, and I mean, I started with skincare too. Like I started into skincare when I was like, it's way too late. No one's going to be interested in this anymore. Like, because you have to be at such a top tier level. And that's really like what I thought for so long. And there turned out to be a huge audience. So I think like that's a really cool direction to transition to.
But I thought what was so cool about you is that like, people have touched on skincare a little bit, but it was mostly makeup. It was mostly makeup and hair. And so, something that especially our age group deals with is like hormonal acne and scarring and all that stuff. And like people, especially before, like right before 2020, like people would literally just go to their dermatologist and be like, okay, I'm going to use this thing, go down Accutane, and then it wouldn't work. And then, you introduced CeraVe to everybody and literally like you'd go into Target and all the shelves were empty. And like, I'm serious, like my roommate, like we all watched you and so crazy. These products, The Ordinary, oh my gosh, The Ordinary blew up because of you. Like, I don't think you understand, or maybe you do. You're just being humble.
You're kind.
But it is, you really like revolutionized like skincare and like skin health and everything like that. So
thank
you.
I mean, the important message that I hope was shared is like accessibility. And that's such the cool thing about like TikTok. And I think where there's like a perfect avenue for you to really like grow in is that like information has become so much more accessible. It's not about like, oh my God, I have to pay $300 to go to a dermatologist to like figure out how to take care of my skin. Like people can learn about the basics and the essentials and the products that they need just from watching TikTok content. And I feel like that's like a perfect avenue for you to be able to grow with. But like, I'd also love to ask, because I'm curious, like, and I love asking all my guests this, what is the worst thing that you've done to your skin, and what does your skincare routine look like now?
Well, I don't know, maybe it was like back in like 2017, 2016, and those like laser things, you could get them at Target or wherever, and it was like a laser like pimple remover. And it would, you would apply heat to your pimples, and apparently the next day they'd be gone. But really, it would just like scar my face. But I would use it like every day for like a month, because it just seemed like to be the hot new thing that everyone was using. And it didn't work. Like, I was bleeding. I had so much more acne. It was really bad.
That's so bad.
Yeah.
Bleeding's not a good sign. Just FYI for anyone.
No. If you're bleeding, just don't.
Yeah.
Don't
maybe
use that
stop.
anymore.
Maybe just like stop.
Just stop. Yeah. So that was probably the worst thing I've done. I've been on Accutane twice. So I used to have really bad skin. But now I do use Tatcha. Tatcha, I think, works best for my skin because I have really oily skin.
Same. Yep.
So I think that is like the most sensitive for my skin type. And every time I use that, it seems to work.
Good.
I did used to use just like so many products, like so many lotions, so many acne treatments, so many facial cleansers.
Yeah.
And I think it was like too much. And now it just comes down to like a Tatcha face wash and then that African black soap moisturizer.
Okay.
So I use those two things. That's literally it.
Okay.
That's literally it.
Super simple. Honestly, like I have always been such a fan of just like keeping skincare routines super simple, especially because like when most people, I think when you first get into skincare, you just like want to try everything and you feel like you need to have like a 10-step routine and try all these products. But over time, I feel like everyone kind of figures out that like, no, just keeping it simple to the products that work best. And especially with you having been on Accutane twice, like you've been through the ringer, like you, I'm sure, have tried so many different things and so many solutions. Yeah. So the fact that you've been able to find like what works best for your skin and you're able to just like stick with it and like keep it simple and functional is awesome and much better than bleeding skin.
Yes.
May I say?
No more bleeding skin, no more of that.
I love it. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's cool. I had no idea that was like your skin journey, and that makes sense why you like started watching skincare videos and like start watching my content.
That's and retinol. So cool. Was it you? I think you're the one who like really introduced like retinol for like aging. Yes. And I was like, I don't even think I heard of retinol before you. Really? Okay. And so I was like, I'm gonna go try that. And then I used the Inculist retinol. That was the first one I ever tried, and it was great. It was a little harsh on my skin personally, just because it just does that. Like it's not for people who have very sensitive skin.
Yeah, and it takes a while to get like into the retinol game. It's a little intimidating at first because typically when you first use retinol, your skin is like, oh my god, what is happening? It's like freaking out, and then you have to like desensitize your skin a little bit to it. But that's awesome. Okay, I love the skincare routine. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you for all your help.
Of course. Oh my gosh, I'm so like, thank you again for like watching my content. And
please,
like, really,
you do not have to thank me. Thank you.
Of course. I'm glad it can make like the information more accessible and a little bit like easier to understand.
For sure.
So I want to like get into kind of like your personal journey, and like because I think everyone on TikTok has been able to see like just how much you have like blown up, like and it's been incredible. And since obviously like I personally only discovered you like once you really started blowing up, but like from the first video that I found, I was like, this person understands TikTok and understand the community and like just how to make hilarious, comedic, super entertaining content, which does not come naturally. You know, it's like difficult to find. And when I was doing, you know, a little bit of research on you before this, and I was not surprised at all. I was like, oh my God, of course she's a theater kid. Like, I love it. I totally see it, like confirmation bias, because I was like, I just get that vibe. And like, I grew up doing theater too. So like, yeah. Like, so I could totally like get that vibe. And I saw that you were heavily involved in like musicals and theater productions and stage competitions, like all that kind of stuff before like going, I guess, to college to literally like specialize in that. Do you feel like that kind of helped pave the way for your TikTok content?
1000%. And it's funny because like I'd never discovered my comedic side until I went to college, because everything I played in high school was like super serious and dramatic and like the dying wife in a musical. Like everything was so just crazy dramatic. And I always knew I had like a goofy personality, but I never really like let it show through until I played Paulette in Legally Blonde in college.
That's so fun.
I was literally 20 years old when I was like, oh my gosh, like I can be really goofy. And I loved it. That was like the most fun I had ever done, like doing a show. And so I was like, I just want to play parts like this for like the rest of my life. Like this is where like I am the most happy, I feel the most fulfilled. And so everything I did on TikTok was funny, because that's where I felt like the most comfortable, and that was like the truest form of like myself that I could give to everyone. And so that is something I really just want to do, you know, for the rest of my life, is like comedic stuff. And so I just want to tie it into like everything that I do. Like if I continue doing makeup content and you know, potentially hair, like any of that stuff, I just want to keep, you know, that part of me, a part of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, I love it. I mean, like, that's another thing I was going to ask. Like, you know, obviously it's been so cool just to like see your growth on TikTok, and it's brought about so many opportunities. And especially if you're getting into the beauty space and stuff, like, oh my gosh, so many more opportunities are going to come your way. Do you see yourself like continuing to pursue like acting or theater performance?
I really would love to. I mean, because that is where like I feel home, is being on stage. There's literally nothing like live theater. And as you know, a fellow theater performer. So this past summer, I actually spent time at the Pittsburgh Civic Light Opera, which is a huge
opera.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So they're actually a really huge regional theater company in the country. They have like thousands and thousands of people who audition every year, and they only cast like maybe 50 to 60 people total throughout the whole summer. So I did 3 shows there this past summer, and it was a dream come true. The theater is called the Benedum Center, which holds like maybe 3,000 to 4,000 people.
Wow.
So, and we had like, you know, practically a sold out, you know, venue every single night. So it was just so great. I did Kinky Boots, I did Sister Act, and The Drowsy Chaperone.
Oh my God, what fun shows. Those are all
shows.
A blast.
Yeah, and they're like all comedies. So I was like, yes, this is like great. This is so fun for me to do. Yeah. And so I had so much fun doing that. It was a challenge though, because on top of that, I was also content creating. And so because I would be in the rehearsal room for 8 to 9 hours a day, I was like, you know, now I have to go home. I need to film my content, film my brand deals, you know, all that stuff that's really hard to balance. And I hope, you know, the next time I do a show, because I definitely will be doing other productions, I'm sure, in the future. That's something I love to do. But I would love to figure out a way to like balance it, because I mean, same thing with you. You're balancing all these things: your business, your podcast, your content, your TikToks, your
balance
YouTube.
Is an overstatement. I don't think there's much balance in my life.
Oh my gosh, I don't know how you do it, because you really know how to juggle it all.
Well, thank you. I don't know how you do it either, because like one thing as well that I think like maybe isn't spoken about in the content creation space is the energy that you have to output in creating content, and especially for yours, because, you know, it's not like you're doing ASMR videos or something. Your content is like high energy, super funny, and like it can be difficult, like as a, you know, standard content creator. Okay. Bless you.
That was the weirdest sneeze.
No, you're all good. You're all good. It can be challenging as like just a standard content creator to find the energy to create videos where you have to be like on your A game.
Yeah.
You have to be like excited and positive energy all the time, and just kind of giving it your all, similar to like, I'd say like how, you know, and this is me speaking from personal experience, like when you're performing on stage, like when you're out on stage, you have to give it your all. Like there's no 50%. I feel like it's a similar vibe with content creation, especially for the content that you do, but trying to balance that with like performing for like 8 to 9 hours while having all that energy on TikTok. It is tough, like having to have that energy on the days where you're just like, I'm fucking exhausted and I'm tired and I don't want to do this anymore. Like how do you keep that positive energy?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely a challenge. Some days I don't have it. Some days I do. But really like setting a schedule for myself. If I have a day off, like I'll spend that time, you know, making content, then draft it, and then I'll post it throughout the week. That's definitely, you know, the best way of doing things. But if I really need to get a video done, because I really try to post every single day, it is something that like I feel like I need to do, because it's like my job. It's like my full-time job. So if I take a day off, oh my gosh, and if I don't have that energy in me, I feel like such a failure. And I really like hate that feeling. Like just because like I don't have the energy, or I'm sick and I literally can't make something good or quality. Like that is the worst feeling, like knowing that you can't do something one day or the next day, or like 2 or 3 days, it's like not in you, or you feel burnout. And like, it's the, just that feeling of like, of being like a failure. Like, I hate that the internet has kind of like tricked us and trained us to think that way. Like if we don't have a video that goes viral, like, cause like the numbers are all that matters, you know, it is a very draining, you know, mindset to be in. But like you really can't like live in it. You have to just like keep going and just like trust yourself and trust your audience and trust that everyone there is you know, like your friend, your companion. They want to see you succeed. They want you to take the time off if you need it. And so seeing that sometimes is actually really refreshing, and it makes me feel like, you know what, okay, I can take a day off, or I can take a little break for myself, you know, if I really need it. Because like, you know, it's such a weird new career that we're in.
Oh my gosh, it's like so bizarre. And it's funny because like it's very easy to feel like a slave to that algorithm kind of thing, where you feel guilty for any moments that aren't exploited for content creation, for you know, creating videos, whatever it may be. Like I don't know if you experience this, like being in Hawaii, like where it's kind of considered vacation, but like anytime like I go on a vacation, anytime I'm like traveling anywhere, anytime I'm doing something fun like a hike or going to a cool place or something, the immediate mindset is like, oh my gosh, I should be making content. I should be filming part of this. I should be showing it because it could be content for this, for that. It's very easy to like mentally be tricked into that mindset, because you're so used to just like, I have to just like take advantage of every single opportunity when you're always in that like mindset, which is not healthy at all. Like, I don't know if that's something that you've experienced too.
100%. Every single time I'm traveling or somewhere, I just feel like I need to document it. And if I don't, then like, what are you doing? It's like, it's crazy. And I think like TikTok especially is like the strictest, has the strictest algorithm. Like consistency is key. And, you know, if you are not like documenting your whole life, it's like, what are you doing with yourself? But it's like, I don't want to have to feel like I have to live that way. I should have privacy. I should have things that I should keep to myself and just experience and like keep locked up here instead of on my phone, you know? So I think that I'm lucky to like be in a point in my like career where I can do something like that and hopefully not beat myself up too much over it.
That's good. Because that's another thing I was going to ask, and I'm always curious, with anyone in this sector, is like, how do you prioritize that balance? Keep that clear delineation between, what is work and what is, you time or what is private for you, and like, how do you prioritize your mental health? Because I think anyone who's watched enough of these episodes or really heard a lot of content creators open up, like, I think we have such a privileged job in every sense of the word, because like, it's so cool to be able to create content with whatever you're doing, but there's a very serious mental toll that comes along with it, that because this industry is so new, I feel like a lot of content creators are kind of, like chickens with their heads cut off running around, not knowing what to do in terms of prioritizing mental health. Like, how do you prioritize your own, and how do you take that time for yourself? Yeah,
it's really nice because like I'm in a relationship where like my boyfriend doesn't have any social media. Like
they exist.
Right?
Oh my gosh, you are lucky.
I know, it's pretty great. So having that, like, that's kind of like my escape is like whenever I go to him, like he doesn't know anything about TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, like he doesn't know anything. And like I don't post him because he likes to keep his private life private. He doesn't want his name out there, his job, like nothing like that. So it's really nice because like at the end of the day, like after I'm done with like my work, I can just go to him, put the phone down, and just like be in the moment with him. And that's so nice. And I'm really close with my family as well. And I like to go be with my sister and, go see my parents and my grandparents. And they love to hear about all this stuff and like all the adventures that I go on in LA and, going from LA to New York and whatnot. And so being able to just like be there with them and talk to them about everything is like really super cool. But like they don't ever get like too aggressive about it. So that's nice. But I definitely have like a lot of balance in my life. I feel like it's not like every single person and every single experience is like about posting, what I'm doing. Like everyone likes to be like, okay, Jessica, like let's put the phone down and let's be present. So like that is nice that I have a really good circle. That's so important to like have that balance. That goes for like any type of job. Like if you're in constant work mode 24/7 or constantly surrounded by that, it is like not healthy. You need that like time to disconnect, to be around people who you don't work with, to have time where you don't have to think about work. Like when I see these like TikTok houses or like these content creator houses where they're surrounded by essentially coworkers who are like constantly creating content or always in that mindset, I'm like, that is my personal hell. Like I would literally like want to unalive myself if I lived in an environment like that, because I'm just like, you already would understand this too, like always being in the mind frame of like, oh my gosh, content, to-dos, having to do this, how am I going to grow, how am I going to sustain myself, blah, blah, blah. Let alone being in an external environment that's constantly perpetrating those messages is just like way too much. And I think it's good to like surround yourself with people who aren't in that space, who don't work in that sector, who are able to like give you that open distraction. I think is really healthy. And one of the things that's like drawn me recently to your content that I've seen you post more about is like you've posted more vulnerable content about your mental health and about your personal like life experiences relative to your mental health, which I really commend, because it's so easy as a content creator to just like keep that wall up, don't touch that, don't talk about that, keep it very distant. But it takes a next level of courage to like open up to the level that you have about your own personal like mental health experiences. Like what has that been like? Were you nervous kind of like venturing into that? It this might sound weird, but I I've always been pretty open, and like I definitely would consider myself an open book, like to my friends and my family. Like I really don't keep things guarded. When it comes to the internet, this is the weird part. As it comes to the internet, I guess I just feel like no one would really care. Like because I've shown just like this funny side of myself, like this is what people expect of me. They just expect to see me be goofy and make funny faces, and like that's totally makes sense. That's what I put out there. But if I like want to do a complete 360 and just, you know, show this other side of myself, I feel like no one would really like, people would be like confused, or they'd be like, what? Like, no, go back to the funny stuff. Yeah. I guess that's why. I'm just starting to open up a little bit more. But it, you know, I'm a human. I am not 2-dimensional. I'm 3-dimensional, and I have a heart and a soul, and I have feelings. And it is definitely something that I should talk more about, because everyone deals with mental health issues and like body dysmorphia. That is something that like I've struggled with, and I know a lot of people struggle with, especially women and, you know, people my age, and, you know, what we see through the media. And that is, you know, I think because that is something else that I am passionate about, not just comedy. I would like to maybe explore that more.
Yeah. Well, you already have in like some of your content, like, and what you were talking about before, like it's so easy, especially in just the saturated world of TikTok and with attention economics, it's so easy to view people very one-dimensionally as like, oh, that's the person who creates this type of content. That's the person who talks about this or makes these funny videos. And that's one of the reasons I started this podcast, was to explore the 3-dimensional, you know, sides of people who are online. And that's what really struck me. And the main reason I wanted to have you come on the podcast was seeing you open up specifically about body dysmorphia, because I've struggled with an eating disorder. I struggled with anorexia for a long time. Well, it's really a lifelong struggle, you know, if you've struggled with eating disorder, you know, but like body dysmorphia and how difficult that is. And also how I think kind of the internet and just constantly being exposed to media kind of, you know, enhances that or like makes it so much worse. And like, I was trying to think of the TikTok that you recently posted. It was an audio where you're talking about like, weight and like, I don't know if it was an internal voice or someone else who's saying like, just lose 5 more pounds. Or just this, regardless of whether it's someone else or whether it's internal, it's very reflective of like body dysmorphia and the constant struggle that is there, where it's just, and really what fuels like eating disorders and stuff like that is just that like, oh, just a little bit more. Oh, just, you're not quite there. You need to push yourself more. You need to lose more weight. You need to look better, whatever it may be. That just plagues the mind. I mean, what has your experience with body dysmorphia been?
It's been really quite a journey, like kind of similar to you. Like it really started whenever I was like going through puberty at the age of like 12, 13, because I danced almost my entire life. And so as a dancer, you have this expectation of being like a rod, you know, you have to be super skinny, like no hips, no thighs, no, you know, no fat, you know, so it was really, really challenging. I had a teacher. It really started with my teacher. He, you know, I would take ballet and he would like grab my waist.
Ballet is the fucking worst. I mean, like it's an amazing art, but oh my God, like just the toxic environment around weight that is always there. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So it was really challenging because like I went through puberty kind of early, and like I, you know, got boobs super early, and that wasn't something I could control. And so whenever I was 16, I got a breast reduction. And that was like really a crazy thing that I experienced. I really couldn't move for a whole month because the surgery was so serious. And I, you know, gained it back, which was really, really not an easy thing to go through, especially after going through that surgery at such a young age. But then, you know, whenever I got to college, it did get a little bit easier because like I was in a, you know, I was definitely not just with dancers anymore. I was with people like with, you know, many different races, different body types, different genders. So it was like a way more of like an accepting environment to be in, where I didn't feel as much pressure. But there, you know, someone in my life who's very, very close to me. I won't say who she is, but basically for the past 10 years of my life, she has been someone who has always been on top of me about my weight and has called me really horrible names. And it's like, I don't know, I guess it's really hard to talk about it without like saying who she is, but like, I don't want to like disrespect her, or like, you know, I don't want to disrespect her.
That's okay.
But it's just been really difficult because like I've had to go to therapy. I've had to go to therapy with her in order to like kind of like resolve this issue, because it was just like flat out bullying. It gave me, you know, I was bulimic for a little bit of time, and that was like really my darkest point of like going through all of this with my body acceptance journey. But like I feel like I am in a good place. You know, I'm also with someone who loves me dearly, like my boyfriend, who, you know, loves every inch of me. And so that definitely has helped me gain, you know, a lot of my self-confidence back. And yeah, I just feel like I'm in a much better place. Sometimes it definitely does, you know, trigger me at times. But it is something that, you know, I've gotten through a lot better like these days.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank
That's
you.
like, seriously, that is amazing. And like having to deal with that, I mean, having an internal voice that's already like pressuring you nonstop to be towards like unrealistic like weight expectations, or just, you know, constantly criticizing your own body is already hard enough, let alone having an external force that's just constantly pushing is like unimaginable. And the fact that you know, have gone through, you know, that experience of an eating disorder and been able to like push through is super commendable. I mean, I've seen content and I've spoken with addiction specialists who have said that the hardest addiction by far out of all of the different addictions they've worked with is eating disorder to fully recover from, because food is something that we have to deal with every single day.
Yes.
It's not something that we can just like avoid or like, you know, like cut off and say, oh, we're not going to deal with that anymore. It's something that is an integral part of our life, which is why it is so difficult to overcome and why it tends to just latch onto people for a lifetime. Right. And by no means, like, I'm the first to say this, like when it comes to eating disorders, it's something that you never fully get over. It's always a work in progress, but you can get so much better. And the fact that you've been able to not only take steps to go to therapy, which is incredible. I'm always talking about like therapy, how important it is. Like, that's amazing. But that you've actively worked towards a better place with that, and the relationship with food is incredible. I'm really proud of you, because that is no easy feat, especially like in this industry. Like, goddamn, like, what are your thoughts on like, I feel like social media, as much as I love it, and obviously we both work in it, it's incredible. It is, man, it really is a plague on self-esteem and the way that you perceive yourself and body, like, and I feel like it can actively kind of perpetrate body dysmorphia. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, when I see a girl online, or really, I've been to LA a lot recently, and I've worked with a lot of influencers who are super tiny, have these like perfect fit little like bodies. Like, it personally makes me feel like, and I'm okay with this, but like well, I don't know. This also might sound weird, but like, I don't feel like sexy anymore because like even though like I'm like cool with how I look, I feel like I've lost a bit of like my sexiness within myself. Because like I'm always surrounded by these people who like are the definition of like what we would call, or, you know, look like a sexy person. And so I don't have like washboard abs. I don't have like, you know, I have really big shoulders. Like I don't have the stereotypical like, you know, what we would call like the Victoria's Secret model body. Like that is something that when I'm around like a group of girls or I'm with them, I kind of feel like I'm like the mom figure because like I feel like I have like a mom bod in comparison to them.
No.
And the way that they talk and the way that they like prioritize like their life and they're just like literally always on their phones and like they can't even make eye contact with me. And I'm like, oh my God. And like these girls are like my age or sometimes older. And I'm like, this is like really like challenging for me because like I feel, almost like I belong in like a different generation, even though like I'm on my phone all the time, but I still know how to interact with people and make eye contact with them. Like I feel like a lot of people are still like out of touch, and it's because of like the way that they're like promoting themselves, because you know sex sells, and like the way that is being used to their advantage, the way that, you know, that's their own business. And like, I see that and I'm like, I don't know. That's not me. And so I think because of that, I feel like I've lost a little bit of like my sexiness.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird.
It's hard. Like as a woman, especially, it would just be the standards are impossible.
Yes.
But like, can I tell you, like, you would be so boring if you were one of those people. Like, oh my gosh, I would not like feel as connected to you as I would had you like been one of those people. And like sometimes like I feel like it's really helpful to like stand back, because I've you know, whether it's like influencer events or like meeting influencers, I'm notorious for like shitting on the influencer community and shitting on LA because I feel like I've seen enough. But like I've stood back sometimes and just been like, what an empty life a lot of these people must lead, where, you know, the fixation is on how they look, where their diet is so controlled, where they're, you know, constantly focused on like the external validation that they get, you know, from the way that they appear or from the sex factor or whatever it may be. And sometimes I have to look at that, or always being on their phone, not being able to like really be personable and engage with people from an authentic place. And I'm like, damn, like that must suck. Like that looks miserable. I would not want to lead a life like that, because the emptiness that they must go to at the end of the day when they're left alone with themselves, I'm just like, ooh, that just like, that looks miserable. And that's where I'm so glad you're not like that. I sure as hell wouldn't have you on the podcast if you
well, thanks. And like, I guess that's like also kind of a struggle. I see a lot of these people who are like really successful, and I know, because I've met a handful of people who just are so shallow, but they're like, they're really good at their jobs, but it's like, I want to have like, I want people to connect with me. I want to do this as a job, and I also want to be like happy and fulfilled, and like I want to share enough of myself online, and I want to change lives, and I just want to be like fulfilled in that way. Like I want it all, but that's, I guess, like not life sometimes. Like sometimes you have to be like, I don't know, like that's why, like, I don't know, like the Kardashians, super shallow, super like, I mean, I still watch them, but like, because we still die for them. But like, you know, they're so out of touch with reality, and like, it's like their phones are their lives. They're the materialistic things are their lives, and but like they're super successful. And it's like, where's the middle? Where is like where, you know, you are a good person. You have so much to like offer, you know, you want good for other people. You want to make a change in the world. But you also get like so many good things in return. Like and sometimes that doesn't happen to certain people. And I guess I'm saying all this right now, and I might be rambling a little bit. It's because I've been like kind of going through a confusing period, like with my content and my TikToks, and like I'm trying to make things that can help change lives and help connect with people more, and but also do things that satisfy me. But it hasn't really been like, you know, it hasn't been as successful as like I would hope it would be. And so I guess it's just been like a little, I don't know, I guess like not concerning, but it's just been a little like,
Yeah.
unmotivating, I guess. And so I wish that I could be like making good work, doing something that makes me happy and makes other people happy too. And I would like to get like a bigger, I thought I would get a bigger, better response from, the people who watch me. And I don't know. I don't really feel like it's been.
That's like the sign, in my opinion, if I can add, like, I think that's a sign that you're a good person because, like, honestly, because I think sometimes a lot of people approach their platforms purely through what can I get out of this? What opportunities can come my way?
For sure.
And don't look at the bigger impact that can be made, which is, I think, is really important. And I know for me with my personal journey, like after I know I'd been creating content for a few years and I was like, I love skincare, but like, oh my God, I cannot just talk about skincare. I need to make a bigger difference. Like I want to have a bigger impact. And so for me, that came through, searching, finding ways, being able to make my brand to like cement in some ways that can make a bigger impact on the world. But I would get so frustrated too, because I'm like, when I talk about important issues, about wanting to change the world, helping lives, it just doesn't connect with people in the way that I would hope it would. Like people want the digestible content that's funny, that's entertaining, that's like shallow or like grandiose, whatever it may be. But I found that the most meaning and purpose can be found in the most simple and like very mundane things. And I think for you, like, don't underestimate your impact that you've had in making people laugh and making people smile. It can be like easy to overlook that, but for you, like, I know there are hundreds of thousands of people out there, millions of people out there who like your content. They literally look forward to it. Puts a smile on their face. It helps them get through the day, and that is not to be discounted in any way. But I love that you're wanting to like take that pivoting approach and find ways to incorporate, things that make a bigger impact into your content. And speaking from personal experience, it takes time to figure it out. And it's a constant like journey and struggle. And it's difficult because we live in an age where people do consume such shallow content. I'll just say
but also
it.
The internet like loves niches. Like love like to pigeonhole people and put people in a box. And that's like the toughest thing. Like I want people to like me for me and not just because like I put a 2x speed filter on my videos. Like and that's like what I guess what I get insecure about is like people aren't gonna like me for me. They're gonna like the performance that I put on. And like even though I love doing it, it's super fun. Like there's so much more to me than just that. I mean, is that mostly my fault? Yeah, because that's what I put out on the internet. But but the times that I chose to put more of myself on the internet, no one really gives a fuck. But I mean, some people do. But like,
oh my God, no, like
in comparison.
Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to look at the numbers and the scale and everything, and like definitely, like I have found that the most kind of shallow, lightweight, not very impactful content tends to perform the best. But what I've learned, and what I hope you can like really see is like there will still be a small group of people that really understand the important things, the impact that you want to make, the difference. I noticed like with my videos, like for example, my reaction videos would always perform the best, which is, just me reacting to like skincare routines. And I got frustrated for a while because I was like, I want to talk about more important issues. I want to talk about sustainability. I want to talk about like social issues and how to protect the planet and all these things. But like, I don't know how to integrate these into my content. But the pieces of content that I would make talking about those, while they would get maybe like a 10th or a 20th of the views, the comments I would get, the people messaging me saying that it would, like helped them change their perspective, that it made a positive difference in their life, that they shared it with people in their life so that they could make a difference. Like the qualitative aspect of the engagement that I saw and the deep connection that was formed with people so much further than what was just crazy high view counts or like, attention or whatever, it made for me so much bigger of a difference. And when I learned to like really connect with those people, it helped me understand like, okay, at least some difference is being made. At least it's not just like entertaining videos. And I think like the same is definitely for you. And especially like with the videos that I've seen where you've talked about body dysmorphia, where you've talked about mental health, like I think it's so important that you have the desire to like want to make the world a better place, and you want to help people and make a difference. And like, I'd love to know, because you've talked about it, like what impact do you want to make? Like whether it be through your content or not, like what positive impact do you want to have on the world and help, make the world a better place?
I definitely want people to know that it's definitely okay to like be in touch with like, their struggles and what they're dealing with, whether they're happy, whether they're sad, whether they're angry, the way that we express ourselves. Some people are really like scared to really just like open up about that. And so I really would love to, express that through my content, and hopefully, touch some of these people who really are scared to open up and they're not vulnerable. And, I think, I just really want people to like learn about, me and, what I have to offer whenever it comes to that kind of stuff, vulnerability, but, I do like to be happy, and I like to, I love to spread positivity in my content as well. So doing it in like in a way that, makes it okay to talk about, because like, to make super deep, serious content, like that isn't me, and that's not how I like to express myself. But like, but I think that doing it in a positive way, like how I've kind of started doing, like through some of my videos, like, doing a story time while doing my makeup or my hair or something like that. So making that like super conversational is definitely something that I want to play into, with my content, so that people know that it's not a super, it's not a bad thing to talk about your feelings and your emotions and your, all that stuff. So hopefully by being able to connect with people so that they can like, I want people to trust me. Yeah. I want people to, be able to feel like they can hold my hand, during, their darkest time. I just want to be there to really, help people who are, going through something sad or bad or happy or mad or, whatever it is. And I just want to like be there for them.
I love that. That was so beautifully said. I think there's such an importance on like people being able to feel their emotions, express their emotions. And honestly, I hope you just continue leading by example, because as I've said in so many podcast episodes, never underestimate the power of a story. And just by you showing that yourself, the positive emotions, negative emotions, whatever it may be, your vulnerability, it will encourage other people to do the same. So like, I think it's beautiful. Please stay humble. You're like so grounded, such a humble person.
So
like,
are you. Oh my God.
Thank
Literally,
you.
my dreams have come true today.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. For everyone who's watching, where can they follow you?
I'm mostly on TikTok and Instagram at Jess Val Ortiz.
Yes, be sure to check out our TikToks, because we're going to be posting some content together as well. And thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. If you have any thoughts or anything that you want to add to the conversation, please comment down below. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the Justaposition YouTube channel. We have new episodes every week, and stream the episodes wherever you listen to your podcasts, Apple, Odyssey, wherever it may be. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode, and we will see you in the next one.
See ya!